Are you interested in meal prepping but feel like the process is overwhelming or you're not even sure where to begin or if you'll like it? Hi, I'm Lisa. I'm a preventative health professional and I specialize in meal prep, nutrition, and fitness. I love helping folks cultivate sustainable habits they can continue throughout their life and things that work for them. I've been meal prepping for nearly a decade, and here's what I think could help as you get started. The first thing, getting really clear on your why, understanding why you're interested in cooking this way. It can definitely feel like a lot. It can feel hard to get started at the beginning, of course. And understanding why you're interested in cooking this way is the first place to start. Understanding your deeper why will help us understand the rest of the questions here as we go. Next is understanding your priorities. What matters to you? What's most important in this process to you? Is it that you want to have you want to save money? You want to save money and you want to stop eating out, or you're wanting to save time. You want to not be focused on cooking during the week. If you're busy and you work during the week and you don't want to be focused on those things, maybe it's time. That's going to be your top priority. Maybe what's really important to you is variety. You know you won't stick to this if you eat the same exact thing for a week, then don't. Let's focus on variety for you and figuring out ways to make and prepare things for you that you're going to want to eat. I think my most important priority in understanding for why I like meal prepping now is it gives me a lot of mental freedom. I really don't have to really even think about how I'm getting lunch. Oh, what's for breakfast? Oh, I woke up late. Oh, that doesn't matter. I know that when I begin my week and when I have busier times throughout my week, that everything's ready. That is worth it to me. That right there, having that brain space free and not having that mental load, that mental capacity is open, and that is worth it to me. Throughout my time meal prepping, I think when I started, I was more focused on meal prepping for health and fitness related goals. And that was really an easy way to kind of get an idea of if what I was eating, my nutrition was aligned with what I wanted for my fitness and health goals. So yes, those I think are really important, understanding your priorities. Next, I would say you have to make a plan, especially when you get started. I don't do as much planning anymore, but I still am planning. It just looks different. Thinking about first thing is what containers you use. Can they fit in your fridge? Can they fit in your freezer? Can they fit in your pantry? Can they fit in a place when they're not in use? As you go through them throughout the week, can you stack them up? I love the containers that I use. They can go in the fridge, freezer, microwave, oven, you name it, dishwasher. And I love that because then I don't have to really think about if I want to bake something or say like I want to make something in them. It's really easy to just do it all in one swoop. Before I used different containers and I would put them into the oven in like a baking dish and then cut it up and transfer it. That works too. Just figuring out what type of containers you're going to use and where all these delicious things you're going to make, where they're going to go. Next is what foods to make. Thinking about what will keep well in the fridge or freezer, and what will reheat well if you want to heat it up, or what you can eat cold, and kind of strategizing on that too. And then also understanding, are you going to use recipes? Are you going to pull out a recipe and follow it line by line? Then making sure you have all of those ingredients, everything's ready to go, and you don't have to, you don't go to start using the recipe and you realize, oh no, I don't have enough, whatever it is. Or are you cooking independently? And if you're doing that, are you comfortable doing that? Things like that. The other thing I think is really important is I would strongly advise not trying to plan, shop, and cook all in the same day when you're new to this. I try to split it up just because of ease of commuting and grabbing things on the way home from work, stuff like that. And I find it's easier for me to just execute and get all the cooking done on one day when I've done all the planning and shopping beforehand. Next is making foods that you enjoy. I cannot stress this point enough. You have to make foods that you like. If you see your favorite, fitness influencer making, or bodybuilding, whatever influencer eating like chicken and broccoli and rice, good for them. I certainly don't eat like that. I don't know many people who can eat like that or, want to eat like that long term. Things like that could also develop disordered eating patterns, which is a whole other thing that I learned about in my master's program for nutrition. But really wanting to make things that you enjoy, things that you're going to think you're excited to eat. If you decide to eat the same meals every day in a row, that's a really easy way to not feel bored, is if you're eating things that you enjoy and things you want to eat. I think that's really important. And really important for me is I try to change what we're eating week to week. So I don't often repeat recipes, certainly not week to week, or even really probably within the same month. So that feeling of like, oh, I just had this for 5 days in a row, that really, you get rid of that feeling when you switch them out week to week. So probably the only thing that we eat week to week that stays really the same is like oatmeal or some kind of egg for breakfast. Those are things I don't mind eating kind of the same for forever, but I still switch it up. I'll change like the topping or something, the vegetable that goes with the eggs, the fruit that goes with the oatmeal, something like that. And then the last thing I think to consider is thinking about what will keep well. So when you're using your fridge or freezer, what will keep well in the fridge and freezer, and thinking too, like if it's something, you want to eat cold or hot, planning ahead on that too. And I have had different fridges while I've meal prepped. I'm very grateful for this very large appliance back here. The fridge that I had before that was definitely half the size. And so fitting all the meal prep containers into that was a challenge. Let's just say I got really good at Tetris. But I think it's really important to think through that too, of like what will stay in the fridge well. People always ask me that too. My fridge is set to 36 degrees Fahrenheit. And then in all honesty, I've never gone to grab a meal and it's been spoiled or had mold or anything like that. I think from my food science knowledge, I know that, it's important that things are kept cold, and by keeping them really cold like that, we can avoid those bacterias and growing mold, all that stuff. So yeah, these are just a few of the tips I think could really help you get started. Please feel free to comment below with questions, and I'd really love to know, why you're interested in meal prep, what's the biggest hurdle for you for starting, and how I can help, what I can focus, my future content on, so that I can help you guys and give you what you want. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, to join me as I continue to share my meal prep perspective.